In a dusty Egyptian village called Nag Hammadi, a simple farmer found a mysterious jar of red clay in 1945. Inside it were 13 old leather-bound scrolls hidden for centuries. These were the famous Dead Sea Scrolls, shrouded in secrecy, and their discovery sparked discussion among scholars around the world.
In these scrolls, we find biblical manuscripts, copies of the Bible that are 1,000 years older than any previously known copy of the Bible, as well as a treasure trove of documents that we had never seen before.
Among these scrolls was one that dared to challenge traditional Christian beliefs, a text so powerful it was smuggled across borders and sold on the black market. This forbidden manuscript eventually found its way into the hands of the Carl Jung Foundation, which uncovered the mysterious Gospel of Thomas. But why was this Gospel, along with others like the Book of Enoch and the Gospel of Mary, obscured by the powerful First Council of Nicaea in 325 AD? They are said to have attempted to free Christianity of ancient knowledge that did not fit their vision. What secrets about ancient Christianity do these scrolls hold? Could these texts be the key to an ancient, transformative truth buried beneath the sands of time? Today, we'll take a deep look at the teachings of the Gnostics, mystics who were persecuted for their beliefs, and explore a lesser-known version of Jesus' teachings that promises to illuminate our souls and challenge everything we thought we knew. Welcome to a new episode of Talk of Jesus. As a true follower of Jesus, you have received a secret message from Jesus himself that can change everything we know about life, death, and our purpose. Why would anyone want to ignore such a profound revelation? It is not wise to accept only parts of the truth and dismiss others. These are the secret sayings of the living Jesus, recorded by Didymus Judas Thomas. Jesus said, "Whoever understands the meaning of these sayings will never taste death." This shows that we, as spiritual beings, are eternal. Unfortunately, over time, many of Jesus' teachings have been twisted to gain power and control. The real Yeshua, Jesus, did not seek followers who would be beneath him. He wanted leaders who would be equal, united, and work together. He was a teacher for many, if not all, and his teachings emphasized unity and collective growth. Think about this. Even the Bible mentions that our beliefs shape our reality. Your faith makes the difference, it says. When Jesus returned to his hometown of Nazareth, the people there saw him as just a carpenter's son and doubted his miracles. Because of their unbelief, he couldn't perform any miracles there. Why? It all depends on what we believe, what we hold to be true, and how we act on that truth. Here's what gets interesting when you hear these words for the first time. Jesus said, "If your leaders say, 'Look, the kingdom is in the sky,' the birds of the sky will get there before you. If they say, 'It's in the sea,' the fish will get there before you. Instead, the kingdom is inside you, and it is outside you. When you know yourself, you will be known, and you will realize that you are the sons of the living Father. But if you don't know yourself, you live in poverty, and it is you who are poverty." What does this mean? Jesus is telling us that no one is small or big. The kingdom is not somewhere out there in the sky or the sea. It's about recognizing the true power that has always been within us. We keep searching externally, only to discover that the kingdom has always been inside us. Think of the wisdom of Socrates, who said that learning is often like memorizing. The saying goes, "Everything new is already old," because all knowledge already exists here and now. It is we who limit ourselves with beliefs, who create our own paths and challenges, but deep down, we already have the answers. Now let's delve into one of the most powerful and often suppressed messages available to anyone willing to seek it out. Jesus said, "He who seeks, let him not cease seeking until he finds. And when he finds, he will be troubled. And when he is troubled, he will be amazed, and he will reign over the whole." What does this mean? It's a profound reminder that there are no inferiors or superiors. The true seeker, the one who is mindful and knows his inner self, will always find what he seeks. And once he does, he will rule over all that he has created and built through his choices and understanding. Consider this. The word religion comes from religar, meaning return to yourself. This aligns with the idea of returning to our true nature, rediscovering our familiar self in a new way. The message is clear. Be like Jesus. He is the example. He says, I am the way, not because he is above us, but because he shows us the way. Lead with him, walk with him, and live as he lived. The disciples once asked Jesus, "Tell us what our end will be." Jesus replied, "Have you understood the beginning, that you now ask about the end? For where the beginning is, there shall be the end. Blessed is the one who reaches the beginning. He will know the end and will not taste death." What does this mean? It suggests that everything is in the present. The past and future are illusions. The past exists only as memories, emotions, and experiences, not as something real in the present moment. The disciples also asked, "Show us the place where you are, since it is necessary for us to seek it." Jesus responded, "Whoever has ears, let him hear. There is light within a person of light, and he lights up the whole world." This means that the light, the truth, already exists within us. We don't need to search for it outside. We are the ones who control how much light, kindness, and purity we bring into our lives and share with others. Jesus once said, "If they ask you, 'Where are you from?' tell them, 'We come from the light, from a place where light came into existence on its own and stood still, revealing itself in form.' If they ask, 'Is it you?' say, 'We are its offspring, chosen by the living Father.' If they ask, 'What is the sign of your Father within you?' say, 'It is movement and repose, the two polarities of everything that exists.' This means we come from a place of pure light and truth. We are its children, chosen by a higher power. The sign of this higher power within us is both movement and stillness. On one hand, everything exists here and now, outside of time. On the other, realizing this timelessness, we use time, space, and movement to find our path, leading us back to stillness. These two, movement and stillness, are not separate. They complete each other and exist together infinitely. Where do we come from? We come from the light that created itself. We are the children of that light, chosen by the living Father. Emphasize chosen because it means we are each selected by a higher power, experiencing reality and life through our choices in the present moment. His disciples asked him, "When will the kingdom come?" Jesus replied, "It will not come by waiting for it. It won't be a matter of saying, 'Here it is,' or 'There it is.' Rather, the kingdom of the Father is spread out upon the earth, and people do not see it. This means that the kingdom is already here, within us and all around us, available as one global energy field. It's not something we need to wait for or find. It's something we need to perceive. This information, this wholeness, can be accessed in many ways, through dreams, meditation, breathing techniques, or intuition. The kingdom spread out upon the earth represents our global consciousness, or an egregore, which is the collective consciousness of all beings, not just humans. Everything is consciousness. Jesus said, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you." What does this mean? It means following your passion, your heart, and your true desires. If you ignore your true calling, it will eat away at you. Pursuing other paths that don't align with your passion will ultimately lead to unhappiness and regret, robbing you of the joy and fulfillment of truly living. So, follow your passion. Listen to your soul and your heart. Bring forth what is within you. Jesus also said, "Why do you wash the outside of the cup? Don't you understand that the one who made the inside is also the one who made the outside?" This means that our inner and outer selves are connected. How we treat others and the world reflects how we treat ourselves. By understanding this, we can learn, grow, and move in the direction of our choice. We have the freedom to change at any moment. But if we focus only on material gains, like cars, properties, clothes, and devices, and ignore our spiritual side, we lose touch with our true nature. Remember, matter is just another form of energy. The key is to unite these two extremes, our material and spiritual sides, into one harmonious direction. Unless we realize that what we seek and what completes us are part of a bigger picture, we'll never truly find fulfillment. We need to unite our material and spiritual sides into one common path, creating a limitless journey of growth and evolution. These are some of the secret teachings found in the often forgotten and ignored Gospel of Thomas. We hope these ideas resonate with you. If they do, please leave a comment below. What do you think about the Gospel of Thomas? How do you feel after watching this video? There are millions of ways to interpret these teachings because each of us is unique. No one can tell you how to perceive an idea or understand the meaning of life. Each of us is life itself, and each of us is the path. Does the Bible include all of Jesus' teachings? Is something hidden? There's an ongoing debate about Jesus. Was he truly the Son of God, born of a virgin, or was he a human being who aimed to increase our awareness of our inner consciousness? The New Testament, which includes only the Gospels of 4 disciples, states Jesus was the living Son of God who came to redeem us from original sin. But what if there's another story? What if Jesus was not above us, but a spiritual leader who wanted to guide us towards inner growth and awareness of our true nature? The New Testament of the Bible portrays Jesus not as an ordinary man, but as the one who came to save us. He is regarded as Christ, derived from the Greek Christos, meaning the Anointed One, the long-awaited Messiah. In the Bible, Jesus performs miracles like healing the mortally ill and raising the dead. His resurrection, after being crucified and placed in a cave, is considered the pinnacle of his miracles. Jesus is seen as Lord and the Son of God, unique and forever distinct from the rest of humanity whom he came to save. But what if there is a different story? In the Gnostic texts of Nag Hammadi, we see a completely different description of Jesus. Here, he is portrayed as a guide who opens the way to spiritual understanding. He is not the literal Son of God. Rather, according to these secret Gospels, every human being is a son of God. Jesus is a spiritual teacher who raises people's awareness. He doesn't insist on being a leader. He simply shows the way, much like the Jedi in Star Wars. In the Gnostic Gospels, the living Jesus speaks of illusion and enlightenment through self-knowledge. When a disciple attains spiritual understanding, Jesus no longer serves as a spiritual master because they have become equals. As it says in the secret Gospel of Philip, whoever achieves gnosis becomes no longer a Christian, but a Christ. This means that Christ didn't originally mean the chosen one or the Messiah. Instead, it referred to someone who gained knowledge and became one with God. Isn't this what we all should strive for? To become one with all there is, consciously. Christ is a state of consciousness, known today as oneness or unity consciousness. Jesus represented Christ consciousness. Jesus says, "I am the light that is above them all. I am the all. The all came forth from me, and the all attained to me. Cleave a piece of wood, and I am there. Raise up a stone, and you will find me there." The Gospel of Thomas tells us that when Thomas recognizes Jesus, Jesus says they have both received their being from the same source, divine consciousness. Jesus, as a spiritual leader, taught that the main path to understanding God was through gnosis, self-knowledge that leads to knowledge of God. He taught that there is light within each person of light, and it illuminates the world. If this inner light doesn't shine, there is darkness. While Christians believe that Christ was one with God, Jesus seemed to have a different view. He shared a secret, that each of us is also divine, children of the light. forever connected to divine consciousness. He explicitly tells James, "Free yourself from the mistaken idea that you are just the flesh that encases you. Then you will reach the true essence of existence. You won't just be James, you will be the one who truly understands that we are all interconnected." Individually, this means realizing our own existence as part of the divine. The Gospel of Thomas, which has gained prominence in recent years, teaches that the long-sought-after kingdom of heaven isn't a physical place, but a state of being, a state of consciousness. Jesus said, "The kingdom is inside of you and outside of you. When you know yourselves, you will be known and will realize you are children of the living Father." Without self-knowledge, you dwell in poverty, trapped in ignorance. This quote emphasizes that those who remain closed to discovering their true selves experience spiritual and soulful poverty. Without self-knowledge, they cannot find the kingdom within or without, and may continue reincarnating until they attain gnosis, true spiritual understanding. It encourages a continuous search for truth, understanding that the journey itself is the truth. In the Gospel of Thomas, written about 300 years after Jesus, there are two keys of profound wisdom. In verse 106, Jesus says, "When you make the two one, you will become sons of man, and when you say mountain, move away, it will move away." This suggests that uniting your thoughts and emotions into a single powerful force empowers you to influence the world. When you focus consciously on a single thought or energy, you have the power to manifest it into reality. This is our true power, a secret known through the ages. We are all creators, living gods who shape our own realities. The Gospel of Thomas connects us to universal consciousness and liberates us with profound knowledge. Many have tried to manifest their desires without success. But why? It's because asking isn't just about words. It's about speaking to the universe in a language it understands, with deep meaning from our hearts and unconditional love. Unconditional love, without any conditions, is incredibly powerful. Our hearts emit electrical and magnetic waves that resonate with the universe. Quantum mechanics shows us that when we feel as if our prayers are already answered, these waves bring those answers to us. In the Gospel of Truth, Jesus emphasizes perseverance in seeking truth. Let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will become troubled. When he becomes troubled, he will be astonished, and he will rule over all things. This statement warns those embarking on the journey of self-discovery. Gnostics believe that gnosis, deep spiritual understanding, isn't for everyone, as it can lead to negative outcomes for those unprepared. Even those ready for gnosis may temporarily feel confused or lost because it fundamentally changes their worldview. Once on this path, there's no turning back, and it brings great responsibility. Every choice and word matters because everything in the universe moves and vibrates with intention. The Gnostic Gospels challenge the Orthodox view of Jesus' resurrection as too literal. They criticize the belief that Jesus physically rose from the dead and instead seek a symbolic, spiritual meaning of resurrection. For Gnostics, the resurrection is not about the body, but about discovering the divine self within. In the Gospel of Mary, Jesus appears in visions and dreams, emphasizing a spiritual presence rather than a physical one. These Gnostic texts explore diverse themes. They emphasize self-knowledge, the need to transcend material attachments, and non-conformity to worldly norms. Gnostics advocate being present in the world while understanding higher spiritual truths, echoing the Hermetic principle. As above, so below, as below, so above. In the Gnostic Gospels, women are portrayed as equal to men in every way, an idea that challenges traditional views. This belief was supported by a 2nd century Orthodox priest from Alexandria who argued that men and women equally share imperfection, with the name humanity being common to both. In Christ, there is no distinction between male and female. Contrastingly, in Judaism and Christianity, the primary purpose of life is often seen as living according to God's rules to redeem the original sin. People attend churches and seek salvation through external institutions or figures, believing their fate is part of God's plan. Salvation, the ultimate goal in Christianity, involves going to heaven after death, determined by a person's actions throughout life. But what if that's not all? Gnosticism presents a different purpose of life, to become aware of oneself and thus gain gnosis. For Gnostics, the kingdom of heaven isn't a physical place, but a state of transformed consciousness. The more we learn and evolve from a purely physical existence to a more spiritual one, the faster we reach our ultimate destination, returning to the divine consciousness beyond the material world, which is often filled with suffering. This philosophy closely resembles Buddhism, where spiritual growth is essential to achieving the ultimate goal, much like reaching nirvana. In Gnosticism, our life journey spans many lifetimes, with our consciousness reincarnating each time our physical body dies. With each reincarnation, if we follow the path of gnosis, we become wiser and move further along the path of realization. Conversely, if we remain unaware of our inner selves, we stay in the same spot, missing the opportunity for growth and enlightenment. This idea of reincarnation closely aligns with beliefs in Buddhism and Hinduism, where the spirit reincarnates into different life forms and conditions based on personal karma. The difference between Orthodox Christianity and Gnosticism on salvation and the purpose of life is fundamentally distinct. Orthodox Christianity tells us to seek salvation outside ourselves, in Jesus, for example, while Gnosticism teaches us to find salvation within and not to rely solely on the figure of Jesus, but to follow his way of living. Jesus said to them, "When you make the two into one, and when you make the inner like the outer and the outer like the inner, the upper like the lower, and when you make male and female into a single one, so that the male will not be male nor the female be female, then you will enter the kingdom." This means that when you identify with the light within, when you make your lower self like the God above, the mighty I Am presence, and when you purify your chakras, upper chakras magnifying the alpha or masculine energies and lower chakras the omega or feminine energies, you become whole. Jesus' core message was about teaching people to become whole beings by merging their masculine and feminine hemispheres, achieving spiritual sovereignty. Metaphysically, the current state of the world shows a conflict between masculine and feminine energies. This imbalance manifests externally as dissonance and disharmony. We see masculine and feminine energies not in harmony, but in opposition, where one dominates and the other is suppressed. Healing the trauma of these masculine and feminine energies or polarities within us is essential. We don't need separation, but unity to find inner harmony and outer balance. We must synchronize these two worlds and follow the way of the Force, becoming aware that we are all there is, experiencing itself as a human being. This understanding is the true essence, and Jesus is one of the many great spiritual teachers and leaders guiding us toward this realization. Mary Magdalene is one of the most fascinating figures in the Bible. She was a close follower of Jesus and witnessed both his life and death. Jesus shared a special secret with her, which we know about today thanks to the Gospel of Mary. Although this gospel isn't part of the official Bible, it was highly valued by early Christians and stands out among other ancient texts. We don't know exactly when the Gospel of Mary was written, but some sources suggest it dates back to the 2nd century AD. Could Mary Magdalene have been the first apostle of Jesus? In recent years, the Gospel of Mary has gained popularity, especially after the release of Dan Brown's bestseller, The Da Vinci Code. Brown's book suggests that Mary Magdalene and Jesus were deeply in love, had a relationship, and might even have been married. Did the Roman Catholic Church know about this and try to hide it? According to Dan Brown, it's possible. But is all of this true? Does the Gospel of Mary provide accurate historical information about the relationship between Jesus and Mary Magdalene? Did they have such a relationship, or was Mary simply a devoted follower who received special knowledge? The Gospel of Philip says, "There were three who always walked with the Lord, Mary, his mother and her sister, and Magdalene, the one who was called his companion. The Lord loved Mary Magdalene more than all the disciples, and often kissed her. The rest of the disciples, seeing that he loved Mary, said to him, 'Why do you love her more than all of us?' The Savior answered, 'Why don't I love you like her?' But who was Mary Magdalene really? Most of what we know about her comes from later Christian tradition, not the Bible itself. For instance, there's no evidence in the New Testament that Mary Magdalene was a prostitute. Luke 7:36-50 tells of a sinful woman who anointed Jesus' feet with precious ointment, but it doesn't identify her as Mary Magdalene. In fact, Mary Magdalene is an important figure in Christianity because she is among the first to see the empty tomb and the resurrected Jesus in all four Gospels of the New Testament: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Later Christian tradition conflated Mary Magdalene with the sinful woman from Luke, perhaps to diminish her importance. The Gospel of Mary is written from her perspective, but is not believed to have been written by her. The writing style, grammar, and theology suggest it dates no earlier than the 2nd century AD, long after Mary's time. The manuscript we have is a 5th century Coptic Egyptian version of what was likely an earlier Greek or even Syrian text. According to some theories, the Gospel of Mary may have ancient Bulgarian origins. It's unique among all Gospels, whether accepted or not, because it's attributed to a woman, Mary Magdalene. Mary was said to be Jesus' favorite disciple and had many followers, especially among early Christians in the 2nd century. The Gospel of Mary claims that Mary Magdalene had private visions and conversations with Jesus that weren't shared with other disciples. Jesus entrusted Mary with special knowledge because she was deemed worthy of this unique understanding. The Gospel of Mary consists of 4 short dialogues that offer profound insights into Jesus' teachings, the role of discipleship, and Mary Magdalene's prominent position among the disciples. As a typical text from the 2nd century with agnostic themes, it explores significant theological and cosmological ideas. The word apocalypse in Greek means unveiling, often referring to hidden knowledge. But in this gospel, it also provides a rare glimpse into the deeper metaphysical principles that underpin Jesus' teachings. It remains a foundational text for those seeking spiritual wisdom. The gospel can be split into 2 parts. The first part recounts a conversation between Jesus after his resurrection and his disciples. In this dialogue, Jesus answers questions about the nature of sin and matter and gives final teachings and guidance to his followers. When asked about the nature of sin, Peter questioned Jesus, saying, "Since you have explained everything to us, tell us also, what is the sin of the world?" Jesus replied, "There is no universal sin. Rather, sin arises when you act in ways that resemble adultery, which is itself called sin. This is why the good came among you, to restore every nature to its origin." Jesus continued, explaining that sickness and death arise because people love falsehoods. He warned against becoming attached to material things, which can lead to confusion and inner turmoil. Instead, he urged his followers to find peace within themselves and embrace their true nature. The first part concludes with Jesus bidding farewell to his disciples, cautioning them to beware of deception and urging them to preach the gospel. After Jesus departs, the disciples are saddened, but Mary stands up to encourage them. She warns them against being misled and reassures them, saying, "The Son of Man is within you. Follow him, and those who seek him will find him." With these words, she consoles them and urges them not to doubt, emphasizing that God's grace will protect them. In an intriguing statement, Jesus in the Gospel of Mary foretells that the nature of matter will ultimately be resolved at its root, restoring the good within each of us to its original state. This points towards eventual salvation for all. The second part begins with Peter asking Mary Magdalene to share any teachings from Jesus that she remembers, but the other disciples do not. Mary recalls a vision where she saw the Lord, and she shares his words with the disciples. "I saw the Lord in a vision," Mary begins. "I told him about it, and he praised me for not doubting what I saw. I asked him, 'When someone sees a vision, do they see it with their soul or their spirit?' The Savior answered, 'They see it with the mind that lies between the two.'" This reflects the first Hermetic principle: all is mind. The universe is mental, unified as one. Throughout the Gospel, the focus is on the soul's journey, ascending through the 4 levels of the cosmos and being questioned by 4 powers. The Gospel teaches that knowledge is key to overcoming these forces and achieving salvation. As the soul overcomes each power, it ascends through 7 forms: darkness, lust, ignorance, jealousy, earthly desires, fleshly cunning, and finally, profound wisdom. After Mary Magdalene shares teachings she received from Jesus, Andrew and Peter question the validity of her words, doubting that Jesus would speak privately to a woman. Peter even suggests that Mary might be making it up. Mary becomes upset and defends herself, asking Peter if he thinks she would lie about Jesus. Levi intervenes, rebuking Peter for his anger and reminding him that Jesus must have found Mary worthy if he entrusted her with such teachings. Later, in another perspective presented in the book You, the Source, it suggested that Mary Magdalene's relationship with Jesus was not physical, but spiritual, connecting with what is referred to as the Source. When asked about her relationship with Jesus, Mary responds affirmatively, stating that through the Source, they are all interconnected as one. It's mentioned that Mary had a family with children, including 2 boys from her husband and another child named Julia, born from her faith in both Jesus and the Source. Mary Magdalene's story revolves around her transformation from a follower of Jesus to a pivotal figure who documented profound spiritual teachings. Initially hesitant and delaying action, she eventually embraced Jesus' teachings when faced with personal crisis. At the age of 43, alone and gravely ill, she decided to apply what she had learned about faith and creation. Mary's journey included a miraculous conception, achieved through unwavering faith and a profound understanding of the mind's power to manifest desires. In her writing, Magisterium, she explores how the human mind, when aligned with divine principles, can transcend the illusionary nature of the world. She describes reality as a play of light and darkness, emphasizing the role of aligning thoughts and intentions with the creative impulse of the Creator. Central to Mary's teachings is the concept of the Holy Grail, symbolizing the vessel through which individuals merge their faith with emptiness to manifest miracles. She challenges conventional perceptions by demonstrating that anyone, regardless of their past or circumstances, can become a creator by connecting deeply with the source of life and aligning their intentions with divine will. The Gospel of Mary, complementing Mary Magdalene's personal insights, provides practical instructions for spiritual growth and creation. Together, they outline a path where faith, belief, and the acceptance of one's true nature can lead to profound spiritual transformation and the realization of personal potential as co-creators with the divine. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene presents a unique perspective on the relationship between Mary and Jesus, offering insights into their teachings and spiritual experiences. Historically, it's challenging to verify its accuracy due to the lack of contemporary records and varying interpretations over time. Early Christian communities valued this gospel, but it was later excluded from the New Testament and deemed heretical by some branches of Christianity. Despite these controversies, Mary Magdalene remains a significant figure in Christianity, revered for her role as a disciple and her spiritual insights. Her story embodies themes of faith, love, and resilience, inspiring people worldwide to reflect on their spiritual journeys and the potential for personal transformation through connection with divine principles. Ultimately, while the historical accuracy of specific details in the Gospel of Mary may be debated, its enduring impact lies in its portrayal of Mary as a spiritual leader, an advocate for deeper understanding and connection with divine truths. Her legacy continues to resonate, encouraging individuals to explore their own faith and relationship with the divine, regardless of doctrinal disputes or historical uncertainties. The Order of Zion, also known as the Priory of Zion, has indeed captured the imagination through its association with mysterious knowledge and ancient secrets. It's believed to have been founded in the 11th century, purportedly to safeguard esoteric wisdom, including teachings linked to a mystical bloodline descending from Jesus and Mary Magdalene. This lineage is often linked to the creation or influence over groups like the Knights Templar. These ideas have fueled various conspiracy theories and stories about secret societies like the Freemasons, Rosicrucians, and Illuminati, who allegedly wield significant influence over world events. While the historical existence and activities of the Priory of Zion are debated and often sensationalized, they continue to intrigue those fascinated by mysteries, occult knowledge, and the hidden threads of history. Exploring these topics often leads to discussions about the broader implications for human civilization and the concept of a new world order where hidden forces shape global affairs. Ultimately, these narratives reflect humanity's enduring fascination with uncovering hidden truths and understanding the deeper mysteries of our collective history. The existence of the Order of Zion, also known as the Priory of Zion, remains highly contentious and widely debated among historians and scholars. The order gained widespread attention in the 1980s following the publication of books like The Holy Blood and the Holy Grail and The Da Vinci Code, which presented theories linking it to secret knowledge and ancient bloodlines. The primary source of information about the Order of Zion is a collection of documents known as the Dossier Secrets, reportedly deposited in the National Library in Paris during the 1960s. These documents purportedly connect the order to the Merovingian dynasty and the mysteries of Rennes-le-Château. However, many experts argue that these documents are likely elaborate hoaxes or forgeries. Historical evidence supporting the existence and activities of the Order of Zion is scant and often contradictory. Claims about prominent historical figures like Leonardo da Vinci, Victor Hugo, and Isaac Newton being grand masters of the order are largely speculative and lack concrete evidence. The story of Rennes-le-Château and the alleged discovery by Béranger Saunière of documents related to the Order of Zion is steeped in mystery and controversy. In 1885, Saunière, a priest in southern France, reportedly found ancient scrolls in his church, suggesting connections to a secret brotherhood tasked with protecting the descendants of Jesus Christ. These documents, often referred to as the Dossier Secrets, have been the subject of intense scrutiny and debate. They propose that the Order of Zion was established during the Crusades, either in 1090 or 1099, and has continued through history under the leadership of notable figures. According to these accounts, at some point, the Order of Zion and the Knights Templar merged or had close ties, influencing historical events and even playing a role in the creation of early banking systems. One of the most provocative claims linked to these documents is that the Templars possessed knowledge or artifacts that could potentially challenge established narratives about Jesus and the early Christian church. This has led to theories suggesting that the Templars used this information to wield power and influence, even over the church itself. However, it's crucial to note that many historians and scholars dismiss the authenticity of these documents as elaborate hoaxes or fabrications. The scholarly community generally views them as products of imaginative storytelling rather than reliable historical sources. The popularity of these narratives, fueled by books and films like The Da Vinci Code, has contributed to their enduring fascination in popular culture. The narrative linking figures like Leonardo da Vinci and Isaac Newton to the Order of Zion and its supposed mission to protect the Merovingian bloodline of Jesus and Mary Magdalene is indeed provocative and highly debated. According to the dossier Secrets and Related Theories, the order's role extended beyond mere protection, encompassing significant historical and intellectual influence over centuries. For instance, Isaac Newton, renowned for his contributions to science, is purported to have served as Grand Master of the Order from 1691 to 1727. This claim is contentious, as it diverges sharply from Newton's documented focus on scientific inquiry and his public life in England. Scholars generally regard such assertions as speculative and lacking credible evidence. The theory posits that Jesus and Mary Magdalene were married, had children, and their descendants founded the Merovingian dynasty in France. The Order of Zion then supposedly emerged to safeguard this lineage, which continued to hold symbolic and strategic importance throughout European history. Critics argue that attributing such grandiose motives to historical figures like Leonardo da Vinci or Isaac Newton overlooks their documented achievements and interests. Da Vinci, celebrated for his artistic and scientific accomplishments, and Newton, pivotal in developing theories of gravity and motion, are typically understood through their known contributions rather than speculative affiliations with secret societies. It's important to note that the claims and interpretations presented in books like The Templar Revelation and The Revelation of Zion represent controversial and speculative perspectives on historical and religious figures. These books propose that the secrets held by the Order of Zion, Priory of Zion, involve the teachings of John the Baptist and an alternative understanding of Jesus' role and teachings. According to these theories, Jesus was portrayed as a disciple of John the Baptist, and their teachings were linked to ancient Egyptian mystery religions like those of Isis, Osiris, and Horus. The concept of Christ, in this context, is suggested to have differed from its contemporary interpretation. Additionally, Mary Magdalene is depicted as having a significant role in these mysteries, including a ritualized sacred relationship with Jesus and an equal stature as his initiate in the sacred teachings. While these ideas provide a thought-provoking perspective, they diverge significantly from mainstream historical and religious scholarship. The claims are not widely accepted due to a lack of credible historical evidence supporting such interpretations. In scholarly circles, these theories are often categorized as part of alternative history or speculative fiction, rather than established historical fact. They continue to spark debate and interest among those exploring unconventional interpretations of religious history and secret societies. The theories presented in these books suggest a reinterpretation of Jesus, John the Baptist, and Mary Magdalene within the context of ancient mystery traditions and alternative historical perspectives. They propose that Jesus and other biblical figures were initiates of ancient wisdom traditions, incorporating elements from various religious and mystical teachings into their own message. Leonardo da Vinci is depicted as potentially embedding hidden messages in his artwork, suggesting a deeper understanding of these mysteries that could only be deciphered by those familiar with the esoteric traditions. The Brotherhood of Sion, Priory of Zion, is posited as a possible secret society influencing figures like Leonardo, who may have used his art to express these unconventional beliefs. According to these theories, Mary Magdalene's role extends beyond the traditional narrative of repentant sinner to that of a significant spiritual figure and possibly a companion to Jesus in a sacred context. Her journey from Palestine to southern France is seen as symbolic of her influence and spiritual legacy, distinct from the later portrayal by the Church. These perspectives challenge established religious narratives and emphasize the potential for hidden meanings and alternative interpretations within historical and artistic contexts. However, it's important to note that these theories are controversial and not widely accepted by mainstream scholarship, which typically relies on more concrete historical evidence and traditional interpretations of religious texts. Mary Magdalene's role in the events surrounding Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection is indeed significant and has been a subject of debate and reinterpretation over centuries. According to the Gospels, Mary Magdalene is consistently portrayed as the first witness to Jesus' resurrection. She not only discovers the empty tomb, but also sees Jesus shortly after he emerges from the tomb, making her the first to receive confirmation of his resurrection. This pivotal role challenges traditional views that often prioritize the male disciples, particularly St. Paul, as primary witnesses or leaders within early Christianity. The authority of Paul within the church institution stems from his influential writings and teachings, which shaped early Christian theology. However, the Gospels themselves present Mary Magdalene as the initial bearer of the news of Jesus' resurrection, tasked with informing the other disciples. Historically, as Christianity evolved into a formal institution, particularly under Pauline influence, there was a gradual marginalization of women's roles and leadership positions within the church. This shift contrasts with the more egalitarian and inclusive practices observed in the early Christian communities, where women like Mary Magdalene played significant roles as disciples and witnesses to key events in Jesus' life. The re-evaluation of Mary Magdalene's importance underscores broader discussions about gender equality and the reinterpretation of historical narratives within religious contexts. It highlights ongoing efforts to recognize and affirm the contributions of women in shaping early Christianity and challenges assumptions about their roles as articulated by later institutional developments. The Cathars, also known as the Albigensians, played a significant role in medieval Europe, particularly in southern France, during the 12th and 13th centuries. They were a religious sect that diverged from mainstream Catholic beliefs, emphasizing spiritual purity, asceticism, and rejecting material wealth and the sacraments of the Catholic Church. The connection between the Cathars and the legends surrounding the Holy Grail and Mary Magdalene is rooted in various historical and speculative accounts. According to some theories, the Cathars were believed to possess secret knowledge or relics related to Jesus and Mary Magdalene. One legend suggests that the Holy Grail was not a physical cup, but rather a metaphorical representation of the bloodline descended from Jesus and Mary Magdalene, which the Cathars were said to safeguard. Some proponents of these theories even suggest that the Cathars themselves were descendants of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, making them custodians of a sacred lineage and knowledge that challenged established church doctrine. The Albigensian Crusade, initiated by the Catholic Church in 1209, aimed to suppress the Cathar movement and eradicate their beliefs from the Languedoc region. Led by Pope Innocent III and supported by French nobles, the crusade lasted for over 2 decades and resulted in widespread devastation. Tens of thousands of people, both Cathars and Catholics who sympathized with them, were killed in brutal campaigns that included mass burnings and massacres. The Crusaders' actions during this period remain a controversial and tragic chapter in European history, reflecting the religious and political tensions of the time. Despite the violent suppression of the Cathars, their legacy and the myths surrounding them have endured, influencing later interpretations of religious history and the quest for hidden knowledge associated with figures like Mary Magdalene and the Holy Grail. The Cathar Crusade remains a stark reminder of the extremes to which religious conflict and intolerance can escalate in history. The story of the Order of Sion, intertwined with legends, mysteries, and historical intrigue, continues to captivate minds and spark debates. Its alleged survival through covert operations and its speculated transformation into influential movements like the Order of the Rosy Cross and the Masonic lodges add layers to its mystique. While skepticism surrounds the existence and activities of the Order of Sion, its enduring appeal lies in the compelling narratives it weaves around ancient mysteries, secret knowledge, and the preservation of esoteric traditions. Whether viewed as a genuine historical entity or as a well-executed fiction, the fascination with the Order persists, prompting ongoing investigations and interpretations. In exploring topics like the Order of Sion, it's important to keep an open mind, consider diverse perspectives, and remain curious about the potential truths and myths that shape our understanding of history and secret societies. Thank you for another insightful episode of Talk of Jesus. If you have further questions or thoughts on this intriguing topic, feel free to share them below. Until next time, keep exploring and seeking knowledge.